Hey there. I get situated. RJ here. So I've had some pretty good questions in the comment areas, comment section of the last video I put up. So decided I'd throw together another short, maybe a short few minute, excuse me, edit. Figured I'd try to find, maybe throw together me, COVID. So figured maybe I'll edit that out later. Maybe not. Who cares? Had some questions. I figured maybe, I just kind of set up a little better camera angle. It was the first time using that camera mount, so I think I may have botched it in a way. I think I showed some interesting stuff, some good stuff. I think some things got cut off in the picture, just the overall view. So I'm going to kind of change it to where you can hopefully see that a little bit better. Explain some of the things I did. One of the things, I know someone's asked me about specific types of vehicles. So we'll kind of touch on some of that. One of the things that I'm toying with doing for our current build, as I look down here in my toolbox slash workbench slash whatever we want to call this, one of the things I am looking at is actually using the wheels and tires from the model kit for this car. And I can actually kind of pull that off as I lean out of screen here. I believe two things are happening. One, slot cars, the front wheels, in this case, oval and road course slot cars. There are some chassis, I believe it's a Womp that I've seen, that all four wheels and tires are actually on the track and they turn. So those being off can actually affect the way the car handles and the way the car works. Drag racing is different. Our front wheels are dummies. Most of the time, this is actually a takeoff from back in the 70s. In RC drag racing, we used to use these wheels, very similar to these, that were they're actually airplane landing wheels is what they were. They were aluminum and they had O-rings on them. Well, these bad boys, same thing. Aluminum, O-rings on them, and there's different size O-rings to give you different size looks. So this is a thicker, heavier O-ring, more of like a door car look. I can put the same wheels from that car onto this dragster chassis, except I would use the different O-rings, because most of the front wheels come with a couple different types of O-rings, two different sizes. And prime example of that is this dragster right here, because I converted this one over to the way just about everybody does their dragsters now, and that is with a magnet. So we watch carefully the magic. Magnet to magnet on the body mount, but the front wheels stay attached. Because, like, again, the front wheels are dummies. They don't do anything. They're just there for show. That sucker snaps on there. And these are really super tough neo magnets, so they're not coming off. The body's not coming off. So one of the things I'm actually thinking about messing with is using the actual kit wheels right here. And the beauty of that is, and I'm more than confident I can do that for a number of reasons. One, I see it done all the time where they actually use that. I had the ability to shove that all the way up, and there's going to be clearance. So I've got no problem whatsoever with that actually working. Even if I wanted to, I could put this up inside the body, and I could actually cut the top of this off to shove it further up in the body. And it's not like it's going to actually ever rotate or turn. So I'm not worried about it. So I actually think I'm going to do that. And one of the things that I own, many of you guys and gals out there, old school mechanics, I say old school, you work on carburetors, you may own this. This is, I know for a fact that these bad boys right here are older than I am. I'm not quite to my 50s. This is a thumb drill. So this is how I put holes in bodies, clear out the brass tubing and so forth. But this is how I put holes in bodies for using the body pins. And right here, as I look down, I look back up, these are thumb drills. Pretty common carburetor people. This is the one actually that I use for bodies. How do I know this one right here? Because I have it marked with a Sharpie so I can remember that this is the one that I use. Often used for clearing gunked up passages or whatever in a carburetor and so forth. Tons of different little things, but it's just a thumb drill set. This thing's so old it actually has a stamp on it that says made in the USA. It was my father's, you know, from back in his days in the military as a mechanic. When he wasn't on deployment with his pararescue squad, he was mechanic. Taught at the Air Recip School at Glenn Air Force Base back in the day. So served in Korea. So I've got a lot of unique tools like that. You know. So again, I'm more than confident. I think what we're going to do with this body here is we're going to use the original front wheels from the kit. We'll show you how we do that. And then, you know, we'll use the drive wheels, the foam tires that we need for actual racing for the track. And I'll find something that's close. You know, I'll probably just go with a Pro Star, you know, old school, you know, Pro Star, something like that. I don't know. Polished. I can buy them unpolished and polish them myself. So that's kind of that. So I'm going to get out some chassis kit pieces from another WRP, for another C06 tall tire chassis that I have. That's the other thing. These are tall tire chassis, so you have to use a like at least 1 1/16 to 1 3/16 diameter tire. Anything shorter than that's not going to work. I'm a big 500 fan, you know, 1/2 inch wide tire fan. I don't know why. I just think they look better. We are going to build here some dragster chassis that use the narrower tires for giggles. Maybe build something up that looks, you know, like an an A, B, C, probably more like a C or D, like a D kind of chassis car. Because the bodies I use, like these are the bodies I use. There are a bunch of other bodies out there that look like an American or a Worthy or they're not even really a good American or Worthy style, which goes back to Kurt Damron's undercover chassis work, undercover chassis. If anybody really wants to know the true story, that style body started with Kurt. And I believe the body guy that worked for Kurt went to work for Mullis, and then kind of spread out there. But that body style, pretty much all of these super comp dragsters you see nowadays, the Americans, the Worthies, the Answers were different. But those bodies were really, really close to what Kurt Damron's tins were. I grew up in an era where you looked at a dragster and you knew whose it was. Like J. Ed Horton, you knew a Horton car. You knew a Boz car. You knew a Ken Keir car. Hal Canode. You could look at a dragster and you knew who it was. Same thing with Top Fuelers. Uehara. You knew a Uehara chassis car just by looking at the tin work. They were unique. You kind of lost that later years, lately, you know? A lot of clone stuff. That's just kind of my opinion of it, or the way I remember it. So we're gonna roll with that. So I'm gonna do a camera setup change. And we're gonna just touch on a couple of other things. Oh, before I do the camera setup change, one of the other things someone mentioned to me. Big into 18-wheelers. Yeah, some of the guys use 18-wheelers, oddly enough, for drag racing. I've seen some microbuses. There's been some, VW truck / conversion buses. And you can use the kit tires. The one guy that runs an 18-wheeler uses the kit tires up front, uses the kit tires for the front tandems, and it's the rear tandems that he has for the drive wheels. And they're not even duals. I don't think he does duals. No, they're just regular, standard, 1/2 inch wide foams, like that. So, yeah, that's that. So, yeah. Like I was saying, probably like a C dragster, which C dragster, D dragster. Back in my time, it was like a really, really small block V6, 4-cylinder car. Those guys used the small tires, the 12-inch, 13-inch slicks. Even the C's, probably like a 1432. It wasn't until you got into like the A dragster that you ran the large, the 16s, the 15, 16s, probably more like a 15, 16, yeah. I mean, an A dragster, let's be honest, it's a pro stocker, except it's a dragster. You're running 500 cubic inch engines. A lot of them were, Liberties, Lenkos, stuff like that. 5-speed cars, which has always been interesting in a dragster. A little bit more fun and uniqueness to it, as opposed to the automatic guys with the smaller engines and stuff. So yeah, kind of go from there. Do a camera change, switch over, and show you what I did before that some people had asked about. So kind of go from there. Thanks. So we have got our chassis jig. This is the one that we built the other night, last week. We finished up in that video. And this is what we couldn't see before, apparently got cut off. So when you saw the chassis in this configuration, and I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing here. One of the things, like I said, I like to do is once I get everything the way I kind of want it laid out, I will tape it down just so it doesn't move around and do anything crazy on me. And one of the things I did, I don't have the so we're clear on this right now. I don't have the nose plate actually screwed down right now. It's just loose on the board. So what we did was, when we came back from that one break, so I showed you that I had everything kind of taped down and held in place for while I was soldering it. This is it here. It's the WRP C06 chassis. I kind of stapled it back up for camera purposes so we can kind of see what's going on, so pieces don't get lost or disappear. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and we'll just clip this bad boy open, and show you the two pieces that are most in play. All right, these are the two little pieces. All right, the square one here, an angled one. Angled one up front, square one in the back. So what we did was, this one we set aside because this is the actual, this is the one that we soldered perpendicular on the nose plate up front, because this is what we're going to put the front axle tube across. Boom. This one back here, the square one, is the one that I slid between the tubes on the chassis. So when I was soldering it, it kind of was used as the spacer to go between the chassis tubes. So when I taped up here, I think I actually had it taped a little bit further back here, I just sandwiched this in between the tubes and put the tape over it, so this held the spacing consistently from front to back across the entire chassis. And that's what that little trick was that some people, if you didn't see it before, that's what we did. So just like that, that boy sits right in there. And somewhere around here, I believe I have, oh no, this is gonna be, no. Okay, so what I have, oh, we are lucky. I did not hide them away. I did not squirrel them away. Okay, here's one of the things I was thinking about before, the thicker O-rings. Boom, that's a thick O-ring. That's usually put on the front of a door car. Kind of changes the look. See, this one I went with the smaller O-ring. I've got some cars that I'm working on that I will probably use the thicker O-ring on. So it just so happened I saw those. Pull that out so you could see that. What I have here is a kit for the wheelie bars. So since we're kind of here in the back part of the car, we'll show you that now. What I'm not going to do is I'm not actually going to solder this up tonight. I just wanted to do this a quick video, kind of talk about a couple of things. So what'll happen is this will get soldered into here once everything is put together properly. You can buy these already made, already assembled. I've done all these other cars that have wheelie bars, the other two cars, I bought the wheelie bars already assembled. This time I figured, you know what, I'm gonna assemble my own wheelie bars this time. And that's what we have here. We have little brass collars. We have the O-rings. So when it comes time to put these together, we will actually do this. It gives you a little bit more flexibility. I'm probably not going to change the width much from the ones that I've already purchased. And like I said, this is where the ugliness is sometimes, because, you know, the car's not working right. You're trying to figure out what's going on. You're like, oh, you know what? Maybe it's hitting the bar. You look at it and you're set up board and you're like, yeah, no, the bar's not right. So this gets soldered a lot and kind of looks like a good mess, and it is, and I'm fine with that. I can live with it. So that's kind of what this is. This is a little bit different. You know, these were already made. So here, it's just it's a different style. But again, same thing. What'll happen is, you know, we'll solder this sucker together, and you know, it's just going to go onto the tube like, you know, so we go like this. So we've got one collar, one way like that. Hopefully the phone that I can see is adjusting properly. I mean, it's just, I personally wouldn't do it like that. I'm gonna do it like this. Collar, wheel, right? So you can solder that collar into place. You can, you know, solder that collar into place. Since this is tubing, you know, like right about there, a little bit of the tubing stick out. Once you mark it, solder it. So then what's going to happen is you're just going to put your pin in there. Bend your body pin slightly so it stays in place, and that's all it is. And that's all the wheelie bar kit is. Again, once we get around to doing that, we'll go into greater detail, because I really... The body mounting is probably going to take the longest. Well, I said that, and I had over an hour's worth of video for the... Yeah, over an hour's worth of video just for making this. And this is pretty straightforward and simple. But there was a little bit of thought that I wanted to put into it before showing you exactly what we were doing. So that, I've got tons of these little containers. You can pick them up just about everywhere. Walmart, whatever's cheaper. Amazon, you name it, you can get them. Just wherever you want to get them, just go for it. They come in handy. So anything else I want to touch on before we bail? No, not really. Like I said, we're going to be doing a couple different things. The body mounting. Like I said, I've got a unique way that I like to do my bodies. I like to do my body. We can do floating. So basically what we will do here when it's time is this floating body is I will just put a piece of tubing in here, right? And that's going to get pinned in place on the outside. The other thing I do when I do my front of the chassis, I'll spin this around and I'll show you. I've got some scrap pieces of tubing, so I'm going to show you exactly what I do down here. And we'll do it. We will do it. You're going to see here, that's how we've got a really tight tolerance, because I literally just take a piece of tubing all the way across that sucker. Here. So I do down here in my toolbox here. So literally I'll decide where I want this. You know, I'm probably going to try to get the pins somewhere in here, down in the air dam on the front of the body. Or, you know, I could get lucky and do this pinless, which maybe. That would be actually kind of cool. So one or two things I would do is I would either literally put this on here and I'll solder it down. All right, so it's straight, square across. Determine the cutoff point here and I'll cut it back. Check it on the body, make sure it's where I want it. And then the last thing I do is I'll just cut that piece out of the middle. It's clean. It looks consistent from one side to the other, except whenever I bend it and tweak it to make it work, because I've done something to botch it. But really, when that's done properly, and it looks like this body's kind of may just lend itself to being able to do that, because we have the aluminum work inside here. I may actually be able to glue a magnet here, which would allow me to put a magnet on the end of the flag like I do on the dragster bodies. And like I showed you before, that dragster body flag just sits. So this is just a standard, oddly enough, this isn't even a cut down flag. So on this one, we run the flag down, grind the flag with the nut, and then I just glue the magnet right on top of it. But that's all that is. This car's got a lot of weight on it. I had built this a little bit longer than normal because I wanted to run a hotter motor on it. Some of the stuff I didn't work. I learned a ton from this chassis, so we're going to fix that on some of the other chassis that we build here on the channel. So I think I'm going to cut it off there. Give you something, a little short something to think about, to look at. Plan for the next one. We're going to start. I'm going to be filming later this week. Work has been kind of crazy, so we will jump over on that. And again, you know, we'll cover what's going on down here whenever it comes time to solder up that wheelie bar. We will cover what is going on there. So thanks for dropping by and checking out our short little discussion here. And again, information down in the description. Reach out to us. You know, you can go ahead and leave us a message right here in the comment section, or you know, send us a message through the link in the Facebook page, and we'll do these every so often. Little Q&A. Send me the questions. I'll do a short little video, try to illustrate it here on video, because you know, I can type in a description and some people may understand it, they may not. You know, some people can visualize it in their head, some people can't, and that's fine. Everybody learns differently, so we'll work through a couple different ways here. If it's easier for you to visualize it that way, then we'll just walk you through it. So thanks again. Appreciate it. Be safe. Have fun. Toodaloo, go with God. Don't take any wooden nickels. Until next time. Thank you.